Hey everyone, Sunday the 9th of Feb 2025, just walking down the beach. It's kind of a half-low beach walk. Election day here in Ecuador. I don't know what's going on in the big cities. I watch like Telesur English. It's a Latin American news channel. You know, they were pimping some violence, marring the election and all that shit. But when I look at what's going on around here, I don't see any evidence of that. The people here are a little bit, it's just all small communities, tight-knit communities all the way down the, from what I would say as far as I go, basically Escariate, all the way to Olong, and they're very, mindful of who's in their neighborhood, and so it looks like they police themselves. So more than that, and maybe the big cities like Guayaquil and Quito, maybe Cuenca and all that stuff maybe have some problems, but I see nothing like that down here. So but this is just the from what I gather, I don't really know much about their electoral, how they do things, but like my Antonio, my host family father, he was telling me that this is the first one. Like they have a whole bunch of candidates, so like 16 or something, let's just say, and then they vote, and then the top 4 out of that go to the next election. Like it's like, okay, you do like when they do races in the Olympics or something, they'll have like 10 groups of 10, and then out of those groups, and they'll finally have a runoff at the end, right? So, and I think that's what's going on. So the top 4 candidates, get rid of the stragglers. That way when the election comes up, the real election, they're all ready to, then the people will say, oh, my guy didn't win, but I'll go for this guy, whatever. I don't know how it works, but anyway, that's what I believe is the situation. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. Before I went to bed last night, I checked space weather, checked on the sun, checked on the sunspots, checked on the sun activity, the flaring. Tons of M flares. Just a whole, like almost X's all the way up the board, like da-da-da-da-da-da-da, like I don't know, the last week I'm gonna count like 12, maybe more. Now, I don't know why there hasn't been any really big X flares. When I look back in the history, when people were taking drawings of the Carrington event, the Carrington sunspot group that knocked us back to the Stone Age. Well, it didn't really, but today it would really play havoc. But I believe only for satellites. It might affect us on the ground here, but it would be able to fix right away, right? The ground systems would be able to be fixed right away. I don't know about all this, the science behind it, whether transformers would pop off or anything, but that's what I want to see. I want to see, like, X flares knocking us back to caveman day. Maybe like when we look at the cave paintings of old, and we're all hiding in caves, and maybe that was the Tower of Babel. That was the whole idea, that sunspot activity was so, and then it just scrambled our brains, and basically we were all like grabastic pieces. We went to like the Planet of the Apes. None of us could talk anymore, and we had to start from scratch, right? So, but so we'll see what happens. But it just seems like the sun is, I don't know, because there's a connection between us and the sun. This is my non-astronomy, non-educated in that type of field opinion, that we've affected the way our connection to the sun is, and it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Now I think the damage has already been done, or we've done, like, with all the junk flying around the planet. It's at all possible that we've grounded our planet or something like that, because I do believe that solar flare activity is important to us, and then it does something to the planet, and it does something to us, and it does something to our our atmosphere, whatever, what have you. We might need it to happen, and it's not happening. Now, Mother Nature always corrects, right? So, it's good all possible that all of a sudden the sun says, oh, I'm behind schedule and there's something going on, so I got to do it really hard and heavy. But I don't know that stuff. So, but in keeping with that thread of solar system and all that stuff, yeah, before I went to bed, check suns, and of course space weather, the propaganda network. You know, it's probably funded by NASA, I'm pretty sure. But I noticed they're pimping 2024 YR4, I believe is the asteroid. And they're going on about how, you know, there's a 2% chance that it's going to hit us in 2032, blah, 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 blah. And that, you know, we're going to, you know, check more and more as time goes by. And we'll see whether or not, you know, we'll let you know how's it going to go. And I keep, like, scratching my head. So I went on and I checked the JPL. You know, you can go to the JPL, you can punch in the numbers or its name, and then it'll give you all the orbital diagram. It'll give you, and then you can use the calendar and you can pimp it. You can go ahead and you can find out, okay, how close it's going to be, how far it's going to be. So I checked that one. I'm like, oh, it's going to be far, like far, far. I went back just to remember Apophis, and I went back because Apophis is coming by in 2029. Close approach is sometime in April, mid-April, very close approach. It's going to be, and when I say between us and the moon, I don't mean that literally, but it'll be closer than the moon. I think the moon is something like 384 or 386, something like that, 1,000 kilometers. And Apophis, as it's close, is going to be 125 kilometers, 125,000. Now that's far. I mean, that's really far. Think about having to drive that distance in your car at 100 miles an hour, and you can figure how far it is. But I've already, you know, I'm just wondering why. Why are you pimping a nothing burger and it's smaller? It's going with us, like I'm talking about the 24 YR4. It's kind of going with us, and then it squeezes in, and then it passes behind us, below us. I can't remember which one. I think below us and behind us. And that's the same thing with Apophis, only Apophis is more not exactly going with us, but coming in more of a almost perpendicular to us. Like so the impact would be different. But I don't know that stuff. You can punch all the numbers. All I'm saying is that, and this is me, you know, the conspiracy mind, whatever. Why are you pimping this nothing burger? And they even say, oh, this isn't a dinosaur event, it's not an Ellie, blah, 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 blah. You know, but it's a nothing burger. Apophis is 3 years earlier, and Apophis has more chance of hitting us. And I've already told you guys all about the ChatGPT question that I made. You know, the question was long. It was like, given our latest technology where we know that we can land on asteroids, and we know we can do this, and we know about reaction control systems, and we know, and I blah, blah, blah. I made a long question. It wasn't just, is Apophis going to hit us in 2029? I made it so, and I said, with our latest technology, could you land, you know, landers on it, which we've done on asteroids, you know, and then to change its trajectory and have it hit us? And ChatGPT said yes, of course we can. But you wouldn't do that because it's unethical. Okay, whatever. Yeah, you're gonna say that the 1% gives a shit. Now, also, Apophis isn't a planet killer either. It's a game changer, but it's not a planet killer. I've done a couple of the you know, asteroid impact site things. You can go to the Purdue, purdue.edu, I think it is, and you can punch in all the numbers, you know, for Apophis, you know, where it's going to hit, what it's going to hit, you know, what it's going to damage and stuff like that. And it is an absolute, like, let's say it lands, you know, in the middle of America. It's going to be a shit. If it lands anywhere on the land, it's going to be a shit sandwich. If it lands anywhere in the ocean, it's going to be a shit sandwich, but not to the point where we're going to be brought back to the Stone Age. But having said that, if it lands on anyone, like if it lands in Canada, Western Canada, let's just pull that right out of our ass, lands somewhere where I live, you know, it changes everything for the west coast of Canada. Most likely that our economy would be decimated for a while. Like, there would be a lot of repercussions and consequences because of it, but nobody's talking about it. You know, they've dismissed it, and they're pimping all these other non-burgers, non-starters. You know, I think this latest one, 2024 YR4, I believe, don't quote me on that number, is half the size. Now, this isn't Armageddon. I'm not pimping that this is the end of the world and we're all gonna die. That's not it at all. But it would be a game changer for some, that's for sure, you know. That's for sure. Now, I don't know, my opinion that if they do change it, and this is using the JPL and looking the way the orbit intersects with ours, it would hit somewhere in the northern hemisphere, in my opinion, because of the way the rock is coming down, the way we're tilted. Non-educated, pulling this right out of my ass, okay? You've got to, please go check it yourself. You guys have brains, anybody who watches this channel, you know, and this is not fear porn. I'm just like, you know, they're pimping this one and they don't even care about the other one. Now, maybe that's the whole idea, you know, keep it quiet, you know, because what's the point? It's going to land anyway, or we're going to make it land, you know, so we'll just want to keep them in the dark. I don't know. That's just me, you know, it's just my take, right? Okay. But yeah, Apophis, April 13-ish, 2029. Go to the JPL. I'll put a link in the box that you can go. I've done a myriad of these Apophis videos, you know, because I was curious. And I did ask the ChatGPT, just that was a long time ago. I should have videotaped or saved all the text and everything, because it gave me quite an, because I said, I want you to calculate the mathematics, I want you to, like, my question was like almost a paragraph. You know, given that this can do this and that and this, and we know this today, you know, blah, 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 blah. Give me the mathematics of how to do it, when to do it, you know, blah, 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 blah. So you go do that yourself, you know, and if it gives you a different answer, I don't know what to say. All I'm saying, when I asked it, it said yes. That's all I can say. Now, you know, these MFers, you know, if it's to their benefit, they're gonna do it. That's all I'm saying. If it's to their benefit and they can get it done, you know, old Mr. Spaceman himself, you know, we're all watching Starlink and something else goes off, and you know, they're doing a whole bunch of other super secret missions. I mean, God knows, we never know, you know, according to the space channels, we never know what the X-37B is doing. We never have an idea of what's going on with that. It's always super duper duper top secret, you know, the activity of the X-37B, you know, the mini shuttle. But that thing's still flying, still taking off, still going out in space for like a year and doing its thing. So we don't know, we don't have an idea at all about what's going on, so. Another guy going the other direction doing a video. He's doing it with his phone. Anyway. Wow, the humidity is crazy today. Anyway, that's enough about Apophis. Go check it out yourself. Figure it out, you know. And, you know, I might not be on the West Coast during that time of the time. If I feel like something's going on, I'll be getting out of Dodge for April. I'll go visit my friends on the East Coast. You know, if I feel that that's, if something is in the works. But I'm not here to tell you that we're all gonna die, so just want to be sure about that. So almost in Montanita, not too crowded today, I imagine. The beat, you know, the voting today, so today is election day. The first one anyway. High tide's gonna be in another 2 or 3 hours. Maybe go down to the Punta and get some surfers. Yeah, 2 o'clock is high tide, so right now it's about 11:30. So I'm right, in between. Still a good walk. Yeah. Anyway, peace to you and yours. We'll hope to see you on the flip side.